Hey, this is Grant Garrett again here with another Gain Grades video, and the big idea we're looking at is time management again, and specifically we're going to be looking at how you can operate in your circle of influence. And this is a concept I learned about from Stephen Covey, the time management and business guru, and we're just going to look at some of his ideas real quickly and how you can use your time more efficiently with these ideas. So what is the circle of influence? The circle of influence, which we're going to visually represent with that circle on the left, is simply the areas in your life you have direct control over. And it's generally something you can act on right away. So for example, most people can pull out their phone and make a phone call to a good friend of theirs right away. You have direct control over that, and you can act on that right away. That would be in your circle of influence, making a phone call. If you have a phone, which most of us do. And there's, obviously a zillion and one things we can put in the circle of influence. But more interestingly, when we're going to look at the circle of influence, we want to kind of juxtapose it, put it side by side with the circle of concern. And what the circle of concern is those things in your life you're concerned about. Pretty simple. The key here is that these may or may not be things you have control over, though. With that said, a good visual for kind of comparing these both together, and this is where we can really start to think about time management, is right here, your outlook, so to speak. And for most people, your circle of concern is going to be bigger than your circle of influence. So this visual to the left here is a good demonstration of what it would look like. So under this paradigm, you're occupying more time than needed on things you have little or no control or influence over. So if you look in this, something that you're concerned about that you might not have influence over might be another driver, and if they're driving recklessly. You might be concerned about their reckless driving if you're on the same road as them, but you really have no influence over their erratic driving behavior. You can't put your hand on their steering wheel or on their gas or brake pedal and stop them or speed them up or pull them over. You don't have influence in that sense. So really being concerned about that is operating outside of your circle of influence. With that said, you should always be looking for what you can do within your circle of influence to operate efficiently in whatever the scenario is. So for example, under that same driving scenario with a bad or dangerous driver on the same road as you, you can slow down, you can let them speed away and get far enough away from you that they're not a problem. So the issue here is that most people have their circle of concern that's much bigger than their circle of influence. And when you're spending a lot of time focusing and having concern over those things you have little influence over, it's really just, when it comes down to it, when you distill it down, it's just a waste of time. It's good to recognize a concern, but to dwell on it or stay focused on it too long is simply expanding that circle of concern, making it bigger and bigger despite your influence not growing. And really what you want to do to operate really efficiently with respect to time is to get a circle of influence such that it's just as big as the circle of concern or just a little bit smaller. Because having them the exact same size is sort of idealistic and unrealistic. But to have your circle of influence just maybe slightly smaller than your circle of concern is really where you want to be. You don't want to be concerned or dwell on things more than once or twice, because then it turns into dwelling, a waste of time. You just want to focus on something, recognize you're concerned about it, then jump back to your circle of influence and see exactly what you can do to fix or alleviate that situation. Now there are some people that might have a flipped version of this visual where their influence is much bigger than their circle of concern. Think a really wealthy person that can just kind of throw money around at organizations and things despite maybe not really being concerned about that thing very much. But for most of us, our influence is going to be smaller than our concern. So my question to you and my challenge to you is, how can you create a life such that your circle of concern is roughly the same size as your circle of influence? Maybe that circle of influence is just a little bit smaller. What can you do?